Hello, and thank you for tuning this in. I have a short presentation here I'd like to give with some ideas on sales process. I think we can ask this question in these times, where we stand on the pandemic situation and the impacts it's had on our business, on our customers, and on the world in general, that maybe it's time to pivot and adapt. And it may be that there are aspects of your sales process that you knew needed improvement, and these were highlighted a little bit more during the recent times. Regardless of the reasons why you'd like to improve your sales process, here's some ideas I think that might be of use to you, that we can talk at length about if you give me the opportunity. So, any good strategy in the context of a sales process or other type of business strategy, we like to use this process where it's now. We can clearly identify where we are now, things that are going well, things that aren't going great. Things we'd like to improve, maybe fires that are burning that we need to address. The idea is to identify where we want to be. And where we want to be is in terms of current best practice. And current best practice is how we define it for our business, what will work for us, for our teams, where we can spend our time and energy on, things that are going to have the greatest impact with regard to our goals. Sales processes generally involve improving sales, more top line, more quality top line, that sort of thing. Where we don't want to go is we don't want to jump to the how. You see where we've aligned these boxes here. We say, well, let's go where first. Where do we want to be in terms of current best practice? Let's not jump right into putting out fires or dealing with just symptoms. Let's really identify what needs to be worked on, so we're not always just symptom improving. That's what we think is a good process when it comes to improving anything in our business, and in the context of the sales process, where we are in 2020. Where do we want to be in 2021? Let's figure out how to get there. So how do we do that? Well, some ideas here about what we think are some current best practices when it comes to sales process. When it comes to what we do, our products and our services, we need a clear list of those. Those need to be clearly defined, their value, their benefits, because that's really what we want, what we have as our first line when it comes to what customers may require of us and may purchase from us. So that needs to be important. That is important, and often is quite well done in all businesses. So it's often not a gap, but it's very important. So next would be a website that answers some key questions. And generally, our businesses, we all use websites. We all have ideas what they're there for, what they aren't there for, what they're doing well, what they're not. But a good website will answer some of these key questions, all these key questions when it comes to sales. Who are you? That is, what are we all about? What are we here for? What do we do? What do we provide? What do we have on offer? Who do we have that for? Who do we sell to? Who are we supplying? Who are we servicing? And what do they think of us? Another key question that often is in websites. So for our customers that we are supplying, what do they think? What's unique about us? Needs to be an answer that needs to be provided in a website. And also, of course, what's our cost? Often not a big issue, but can be left absent in websites, because it's a key area that's going to be investigated when potential customers are looking at you. And if you are chosen by that customer to supply them, how are you going to work with them? That question needs to be clear in the website, whether it's threaded into various elements of the website. That question needs to be answered. How will I work with you if you choose me? So a big one that often is a gap is the next one on the list there, proof of capability. You may have a contact with a potential customer, existing customers, and they want to do some research on you. So they want to go and find out, if this is worth pursuing. And proof of capability is often a gap. It can be embedded in websites if it's digital. Very important to start to look at digital means to show proof of capability, testimonials, written things that qualify you as a good service provider or supplier. Social media. What is that for? Well, when it comes to sales process, it's there to drive activity on a website. So if you find your social media is doing nothing more than talking about your corporate citizenship and that sort of thing, but want to use it as part of the sales process, it needs to be done in order to drive activity on the website. Of course, then the website has to be a quality website and needs to answer those questions. So they work together. So the list goes on further there, and we can talk about these at length anytime you'd like. But knowledge, leadership, referral strategy, a competitor analysis, I'll come back to that one, is often something that is a gap. CRM capability, something we talk about often to try to improve. Selling skills amongst the sales team, cross-selling, things like event scheduling and that sort of thing to get your contact up. And ease of doing business with you. How am I going to work with you? So these are some additional elements of sales process best practice. We're not going to go through all of them in detail right now, but we can at any time. So we need to find out what's working and what's not working. So the how, to get to the how, we need to identify where we are now, both from in terms of what we like and what we don't like, what we want to improve. So what we often see, these are fairly typical things we see in this area of working and not working. Brand awareness tends to be good. Product quality is there and or can be improved or has been improved over time. Customer service is okay, and one of those things that can be improved. Sales conversions are doing all right. The list of products, what we have on offer and for sale is often good. Ease of doing business is generally not too big a problem. And customer loyalty, there's at least some customer loyalty, repeat customers. So that tends to be things you want to keep and improve upon, but don't throw out. And what's not working are things that tend to need to be added. I mentioned before about proof of capability. This is something that often needs to be worked on, especially getting digital proof of capability in place so that you can integrate that with website and contact processes. A contact program, often business leadership finds that their contact process is weak and would like to try and improve those things. The impact of the website, and does the website answer those key questions? Oftentimes websites need to be rebuilt from scratch, but often as well they can simply be improved upon to answer those key questions that we talked about earlier. Winning new customers can be difficult. That can tend to be a gap. Finding new business, that's where competitor analysis becomes important. Identifying where you are in relation to what you do better than your competitors and what you don't do as well as your competitors, and finding a strategy to close the gaps. Social media can be used more effectively. Oftentimes social media just takes a lot of time and energy and isn't really directed at driving quality activity on your website. So time and energy, of course, we're always very sensitive to. And a referral strategy, so improving those things. So the idea from what may or may not be working is to get to the point where, what do we need to fix? Thankfully, it's not everything. If it were everything, we wouldn't even be past go in terms of having a business. So the idea would be, let's identify what we want to add and drastically improve. And let's look at time and energy that goes into that. What's the investment? So we can help narrow that list down to the top few things. How are we going to do it and who's going to do it? Very important to get to the point of who's going to do what. So going from 2020 now, and whatever reasons you have for looking at your sales process and wanting to make changes, to where it's going to be in 2021. So what current elements would you like to retain? And what elements of the sales process do you want? What are your desired ones? And sometimes we think some of these are the key ones that often need to be looked at. That area of proof of capability is important and often takes time, energy, and resources that you may or may not have internally and could use some help with. Social media being used effectively, having a contact program. And like I'd said earlier, doing that competitor analysis, when it comes to winning new customers, a competitor analysis is a key strategy to execute on. We have tools for these things and advice to give in all these areas. So the idea would be, what's your top 2 or 3 strategies? And how are you going to make an investment to actually implement those strategies? So from the start, this is all about not throwing out a current sales process and starting fresh. It's about taking what you have now and coming to that hybrid that involves adding best practice. So doing the now analysis, identifying your where do you want to be, what's right for your business, what's doable in your business, and then working on how to get there. So always happy to talk further about this. I'll go on and on if you let me. And just contact us anytime at Virtus Group. My information is right there in the PowerPoint, but you may already have a contact with us, and so feel free to contact any of our team, and we can talk further about these things. Thanks and good luck.